Ayo, log 11.0. Happy 2021. 2020 is over. I saw this meme, Simpsons meme. It was like, is it a happy ending? Is it a sad ending? And the second frame is like, it's an ending. And that's enough. Thought that was pretty good. Um, but to be honest, 2020 wasn't that bad of a year for me. It's a lot worse for a lot of other people. Um, Ultimately, it shook out. I lucked out. Thank God, worked out well, well for me this year, last year. Um, Even in the ways in which it kind of maybe supposedly sucked, in the sense that like I was on lockdown and as was everyone, and it wasn't the grand adventure I was like kind of thinking I was coming into at the beginning, like living on my own in London and single man and all that kind of thinking. The fact that Corona hit and forced me to stay and buckle down, work hard, and work went well. Year closed out better than ever. Best quarter yet in terms of renewals for sure. Not a single customer churn, and there were quite a lot of renewal. Only one downsell, quite a bit of upsell. And this year we really just kind of shed a lot of accounts that we probably should have never even had, should have never even closed, should never been even customers. But no, work, talk, shop, talk. Never mind all that for now. It's late. I'm at my grandparents' place trying to keep my loud ass voice quiet, and I'm exhausted. It's 2:31 a.m. GMT, January 2nd now. I think yes, January 2nd. Um, but with the point I'm making is even the ways it was bad, like the cookie crumbled well for me at least. Um, I'm looking forward to 2021, but I was looking forward to 2022, like even maybe more so probably. But now it's a more mature type of um, looking forward to what's next. I think this year was good for the world in a way. It's hard to say something so bad be good for the world in a way. Let me unpack that another day. Um, I missed the last one without calling out that I was going to, but it was a holiday. It's Christmas Day. I'm giving myself a pass. This is the first one, 2021. I have to kind of continue this. What to be said about going forward or looking back. Let me just say how the day ended. Ended with FedExers, ex-FedExers, and Jeremy, honorary ex-FedExer. Zoom call, which is nice. The fact that we're all still friends, 10 years later, says a lot, means a lot. More than it says, it means more to me. That I maybe even have to say about it. I've said stuff about work friends becoming friends before, but they've been great friends. They are great friends. I love them so much. I love my friends. I've been blessed with great friends. Um, like so many junctures in my life. Um, Going from FedEx to where I'm at now, there's a lot to be said there too. I'm not trying to unpack that now either. Let's put a pin in that. I like that phrase. I think the first person I heard ever say it was my buddy Po Chang. No name dropping, but whatever. He's saying a lot. It was he's kind of obsessed with like the business lingo. I don't know if he still is, but there was a time where he was, and that was one that at least I liked, even though I'm pretty fucking allergic to business lingo and try not to let it infect my own speak. Can't deny it does. Circle back, put a pin in that, whatever else. My mind's blank right now, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have let's just say, except that after that call we had, because it was what, midnight my time, 11:30 p.m. my time, which was like 3:30 p.m. their time, kind of joking around like, oh, because James' baby's due January 5th. We're joking, what if, she came now, or, you know, couple hours, maybe not even a couple of, like an hour after, less than even maybe. Oh my God, like Eric, I can't drop her name. Did I drop his name? Fuck, whatever. Um, it was lady's water broke. Oh shit, you know? And they're like 8 hours behind, so it's still possible she be born 2020. Maybe better to be born 2021. I don't know, you know? Maybe a New Year's baby. But first baby of the new year, who knows, you know? Well, it turns out it was a false alarm. So then I texted him, oh, sorry guys, false alarm. So what I said, so I didn't realize like a baby, like a water could break and a baby could, you know, hold out. And he's like, yeah. What'd he say? Guess it wasn't the water that broke or whatever. Otherwise we would be still in the hospital or whatnot. And I said, so what, she just piss herself? Immediately follow that up and I'm just being arse, insensitive arse. One of the cool things about living in England now is that I've always liked like British slang, and now I can like tongue in cheek kind of use it. And I've always been half British, but now I actually live here. It's fun to tongue in cheek kind of use it. I don't know. Maybe baby's born today. We'll see, baby Aubrey, when you come. And I just watched a documentary about Ozzy Osbourne. It's kind of fresh in my mind. I always liked Ozzy. I remember watching the Ozzy Osbourne show, or the Osbournes or whatever, way back when. Like listening to the little of his music I listened to, like I always liked. Crazy Train, of course, right? But I haven't listened to a lot of his music. Never really like dug in. And watching this documentary, I kind of listened to some of his music, like toward the tail end, because I had subtitles too. I kind of listened to some of his music click through. But I like him a lot. I don't know why I never dug in deeper with Ozzy, dude. Like, what the fuck? How did I never like deep dive into Ozzy? So that's the top of my list for tomorrow or whatever, is just go through his discography. It's interesting. And I like his voice too. Very unique. The lyrics are legit, which matters a lot to me. There's a lot of music I just can't listen to if like I don't like a lyric even. Which is why I think I gravitate to EDM too, because there's very little, sometimes no lyrics involved to like turn me off or put me off. The lyrics that are, you know, there's not much, you know, to be turned off by most of the time. You know, melodic vocals maybe, you know, there's not much lyric there to not like. But yeah, very particular about my lyrics for better or worse. It means I get more obsessed with a song if I like the lyrics, but it means like a song I really like. Otherwise, more for the lyrics that I like. Just bad lyrics can like ruin a good song for me, unfortunately. Or long, not even bad lyrics, not bad, just lyrics I don't like. I think I'm gonna keep this one short. Maybe it's best that I just start keeping these guys short, you know. But I do feel something should be said, and I didn't want to start the new year with not doing one of these on a Friday. Kick off the new year by not doing one. I can maybe end the new year last year with one, with missing one. First one I missed, they didn't call out. I would, right? I only missed one that I called out I would before that. And this is what, 11? So it could be number 13. I'm doing this for 13 weeks, been doing this for a quarter. 11 of 13. Close 10 of 11 pilots, by the way. 90.9% conversion rate. Got 3 others now that could close. And we'll see where the conversion rate gets to, but never mind shop talk, you know. It was good to end of the year wrap up with the VP and the CEO, the 3 of us, because this is the exec team. So do the wrap up earlier this week was nice. You know, what did work, what didn't work, what we're going to do different, what next. It was refreshing. It got me kind of hypo. Also, just being a relief at the end of the year. Kind of got what was a big thing for me too was very last day of the year. Met 30th and met 31st. 30th, the VP sales did like a lot of his presso part. my part was turned out to be the next day. Wasn't planned that way. It was just, you know, we spent 4 hours on like the sales side of stuff, and then the next day spent what 3 hours, 2.5 hours on the CS side of stuff, and then we'll set up a session now for the CEO product side of stuff. But what was big for me is I got sign off, not sign off, but like we all agreed to hire US CSM, which is huge for me. I mean, let me just share my screen to show you kind of like what a week looks like for me and what it will, as soon as I make this hire, stop looking like for me, which I needed to be different. This is unsustainable. I mean, look, this is 9 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. Fortunately, I don't have any calls 9 a.m. What screen am I sharing? Yeah. And it runs through to like midnight some nights, and then back to back calls from 9 p.m. to like that lasts through like until like 11. These are calls, man. There's so much work to be done between these calls, for these calls, following up after these calls, and then work to be done is not even necessarily related to the calls, you know? But anyways, let me stop sharing that because that's kind of name dropping in and of itself, which I don't want to be doing. But the key piece, I guess, is what I was trying to show and didn't show is that half of that calendar can disappear. And the like agonizing part of the calendar can disappear with a critical US CSM hire. Originally, what they were saying is they want to hire somebody more junior. And I wasn't such a fan of that idea because I need to be able to hand these accounts over to somebody that I can trust. And you know, I don't think I could have done this job if it weren't for the CSM experience I had before this job. It's a little different than sales, and even with sales, still like there was a learning curve too. You know, you can throw a junior person just out of college into like maybe a non-closing role in sales, sure, or even a closing. Even a closing, you can just throw them in; they can figure it out. The CSM feels a little bit different, and there again, I don't want to unpack what I mean. I don't want to have to explain myself. I'm exhausted, but like I think it's critical that the next CSM, especially if I'm going to have them handle half of our accounts all to them, own all of half of our accounts, constituting like 40% of our company's revenue. We're not putting in the hands of a junior person. I don't want to worry about putting in the hands of a junior person. So I got them. Yes, we want someone with a little experience. And actually, what was key was the CEO himself said, we just want to find somebody like you 4 years ago when we hired you. I was like, oh my God, it's music to my ears. I mean, that kind of remit, that's unbeatable to be tasked with finding your former self. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Give me a shot, give me a chance at finding me 4 years ago for us. So it was beautiful to I can hear that. And then I said, of course, well, you know, I need to be able to pay what you guys were paying me 3.5 years ago, which was good money time for me. But somebody, you wouldn't have got, well, they would have got me regardless because of what I was dealing with record wise coming into this gig. But I wouldn't have been happy with less. So you gotta give me the permission to pay as much, which is quite a bit, especially considering what they pay in London's lower, just in general. Um, Even though London's incredibly expensive, like just in general, they get paid like less. And they said yes. So I'm like, fuck yeah, okay. So now I really have freedom to find USCS and pay them what I was paying, what I was getting paid 3.5 years ago. Basically, find my former self to accept what my former self accepted, right? But I have much more to offer now too, because now we're technically profitable. And what that means too is that we don't have to, we don't have to, and we won't be raising additional rounds, which won't further liquidate any of the employees' equity. And the CEO has been known to just give us a great quarter. What was it, Q2? He gave everybody £2,000 just bonus. We weren't even profitable at the time, you know? It was just a good, it's our first really good quarter, and he just rewarded everybody with on-running shoes, which are expensive shoes, but they're a customer of ours too, so we got a discount. And 2K in our pocket, £2,000, which is like $2,500, $2,600, $2,600. That's a significant chunk, especially when they get paid a lot less. Just in general, I mean, it's a lot bigger. a bigger portion or whatever, um, ratio, whatever. But the fact that Sotheby's has been known to do that, wants to continue to do that. This is not the quarter to do it, even though we had the best quarter ever because we just hit profitable. Let's do it maybe next quarter. The fact that the willingness to do that, um, the fact that we're not looking to seek kind of additional investment and further liquidate our equity, and even floating around the idea of like just general profit sharing. Maybe we take 20% of whatever profits we make going forward and put it back in the pockets of the employees. Get creative, because we're not pursuing this hyper growth, which I love. Like not pursuing that fucking hyper growth valley strategy. We have another good year, but in a different way. This year was really the focus on pilots, getting new customers. If we can turn all those pilots into multi-year renewals and upsells, then we're in a great position to get picked up 2022. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's also good to have that light at the end. It's just one more year of like really hard work. And if we're successful with the goals for 2021 as we were with the goals for 2020, I think this idea of like 2022 acquisition is very, very likely, very reasonable goal, and whatever, we'll see, But that said, in fact, I know that I'm not going to have to, not to say I won't, right? But that I won't have to work 14 hours a day, some days, most days, because I'll have a USCSM to assist. It's a huge relief. The fact this year was good, huge relief. The fact there's a light at the end of the tunnel, like just one more year. I can do one more year. I've done 32 of them, The older I get, the faster the less it feels like. Yeah, I'm feeling good about what's around the corner or what's ahead. But we'll see. Again, knock on wood or touch wood, as they say out here. It's good to spend time with grandparents too. I see my mom. My mom's been here working late. I'm very proud of her. But I do want her to get rid of this obsession of working in America. Not to get rid of the obsession of working, because I know she loves to work. But like, she does not have to stay in America, man. She can find a job out here. I mean, what she does is she chases billing she works for a law firm and in charge of like billing and receivables. And end of year is always big for her. They're not even allow her to take a holiday at the end of year because it's critical that end of year billing's all done. So technically, part of the contract says she can't even take a holiday. So she's out here working. But I'm like, your job is chasing billing for lawyers. You're a very employable person. You can find a better job out here. Definitely probably won't pay as much, but that's not the point. But anyways, it's neither here nor there, and that's another topic altogether. It's good to see her, spend time with her, and ironically, whereas this holiday season, for most people, they see less family than ever, I saw more than ever. There was one other Christmas we spent here way back when, me and my brother, which I remember vividly. I don't think I know. There was one other Christmas we spent out here. But even compared to that, I think I saw more family this time than me that time. Or as much, at least, So for me, it was a more Christmassy type Christmas than all but one other Christmas in my entire life. In terms of like family. I mean, America was just a nuclear family. It was just me and my dad, my mom and brother. My dad was never big on Christmas. Always kind of turned his nose up at it almost. It was weird. So just as like a Christian consumer, this holiday, and even though he's not like Muslim, I mean, he's Muslim, I guess, if you had to identify. It's also just kind of contrarian, Yeah, Christmas was never a big thing for my family. As soon as we got to like 10, when we were younger, sure, get your bike. Your first bike comes on Christmas. They're big then when you're young, and I'm glad we had that. But basically, as soon as we hit our early teens, like what we begin to just get is just like an orange egg, a Terry's orange egg, chocolate orange egg. But it's not about the gift giving. It was even just like we would just go to like Tahoe and stuff. Just an excuse for my dad to take us to Tahoe, which is good thing and thankful. But it was well, some of the worst trips we were. One of the worst trips we ever took as a family was one trip to Tahoe, which is I think represented the beginning of the end for my parents. What led to like that first divorce. And I remember everybody just arguing so much. And this was like one of the first few times where I wasn't at the center of all the arguments, like mostly my mom, my brother, my dad. I remember we went slopes and left my brother in the cabin. He was being a brat, but also, why play out like that, I remember everybody arguing and me just reading this book called The Road Less Traveled that I had on me. I think somebody gave to me. I think my first crush, she gave it to me. And just being like enthralled in it and also just like hiding away with it and just like shutting everything out with it. And a great book. Well, definitely the first, and I think the only self-help book I've ever read. Who Moved My Cheese is another one I read. I don't know if that's considered self-help. It's more kind of like a corporate short book. But yeah, I never got into like the self-help books. Never been big into self-help. But that book, never forget, that one made an impression. And I found out later that the author was born the same day as me, just like who else? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, also born the same day as me, and Naomi Campbell. I forget who else, but those three I remember for whatever reasons, right? And yeah, that book, The Road Less Traveled. Great quote coming out of that always stuck with me. It still does. It's like, if you want to be loved, be a person worth loving. There's a lot of good stuff out of that one. Maybe it was just at the age I read it. With books, it's a lot of when you read it as well. Yeah. But I've never reread a book. So any book I ever read was very tied to that time in my life. Much like what I guess I do now with like music. Anytime I listen to music on repeat, I add it to a playlist since like 12/12. Since 12/12, 2019. So since well, not since that day exactly, but since shortly after that day when I hung out with my buddy and it got cleared of court. Court was that day. Cleared of that felony that day, 12/12/2019. And from that day on, I just started keeping a playlist of all these songs I listened to multiple times. And then I just moved over to a new playlist today, 2021. But kind of like what I've been doing with that. And that music, a lot of that music, a lot of it's tied to a time too, but I go back to music a lot. So it's not like the books in the sense that I read it once and it's very tightly tied to that time. The music I listen to reminds me sometimes. A lot of times I listen to music because I go back to listening to music a lot. But this is all time stamping too, though. These logs. That's the idea here as well. These are very explicitly tied to a time. It's a diary. Whatever happened on MTV, you think you know, but you have no idea. This is the life of, going back to like the Osbournes and whatnot, that era of MTV. TRL before that. I think TRL kind of fell off around the time of the Osbournes and whatever else, but maybe it was never really that good to begin with. I was just young. The time it came on too. This came on what, 4:30? Anyways, this is a meandering one to kick off the new year. I should have more focus than this for this first one, especially this new year. I should have like resolutions to talk about. I haven't given any thought. Get fit, sure. But yeah, man, I should be more focused with this first one. I should definitely have. But I'm feeling good, which is big, which matters. And I'll give some thought and we'll pick that up next week. In the meantime, what I will say, much love, be happy, do good, love out. Let's go. 2021.